Welcome to the 24th session of Ergonomics for Beginners, the industrial design perspective. Under Module 5, Behavior and Perception, the current session is the class number 24, that is psychosocial behavior aspects, that is behavior and stereotype. Now, the last class gist what we have discussed earlier, under the cognitive ergonomics aim and application areas, we stressed upon a common error committed in design comes from the confusion between operating logic and its logic of use. If these two matches, then the design success is there. We need to understand the operation of human cognition elements, that is perception, attention, memory, decision making, motor response among others, in terms of structure, content and function through models of cognitive control. We also have discussed that all information processing act is mediated by the system of categories and concepts, which constitutes a representation of the world. The performance of a task is determined by a decision which, in its turn, depends on the proper understanding of the situation. Development should be context specific. We have concluded last session with this communication model, that man-made and natural object or article, some message is encoded. This message has to be decoded by the intended users, and while decoding, some transmission inhibitors and some transmission facilitators are there. So, their balance effect is necessary, and if this transmission facilitates, then it goes to destination, that is, then we can either accept the product or reject it, whatever. So, now how best we can use this transmission facilitators? So, for that a set of human factors we need to recognize and understand its context specific application possibilities. So, cognitive ergonomics, the today's session, class number 24, the psychosocial behavior aspects and stereotype. Now, under this, the culture plays a great role. Culture and tradition, the changing culture, the earlier days and in modern times, and the phases of transition we need to consider. In communication, a continuous process, and man has to adapt, updating or upgrading him. Though we have assorted body sizes and limited mental capabilities, but our lifestyle enhancement, the new challenges are coming, we need to adapt to that, and for that we need to update or upgrade our own facilities. The behavior acceptance and satisfaction from the use of any product or system depends on the ease of decoding of the encoded message in it and seeing if the mode of use, human behavior, stereotype reactions, all these matches are there. The final product or design space would be usable and acceptable and would provide the users the facilities of using it freely, safely and with satisfaction. If a product designed, it is reliable for its function, but the user who is expected to use that product, if he is not able to use it freely, always an unsafe fear is there, and if there is not satisfaction, then that product cannot be said a good design. So, what could be done for that? We require among the other factors like physical dimension match and etcetera, the psychological acceptance is a major role. The product or any component in any system and space thereby should speak out its usefulness and mode of use to their intended user, linking with users' basic instincts and past knowledge, that is the semiotic application. How we can say a pen is a pen after seeing its appearance? First thing is that our body judgment is there, how to hold it and etcetera, and some specific information is presented in it that tells how to use it. The semiotic application in a design means the product itself should say about its usefulness through its whole appearance, color, texture and all other inbuilt information to its users, that is the semiotic application. And while decoding this message, if less time, less effort is there, then we can say the semiotic application is correctly applied. Some facts. Newer now linking with past experience. New development should link with past experience. A completely new design we may not find trust while using it. Newer developments should have similarities of some features of similar items, as for example, the perception of a paper-made diary and digital diary. In the left hand side of this figure, some digital diary is presented here. When the digital diaries came in market few years ago, people started buying it, but after some time its utility value reduces. It may be due to some other new items availability, and another thing is that the space for this typing and etcetera, this keyboard and the screen here, it is not proper. Why it is not proper? Why people do not feel it is very useful? It may be said that the space for to see the material is not very comfortable, and to use this keyboard is also not comfortable, and to open this thing, now see this opening and closing is also not very easy, though some trial is given here for that. So, we can say that now the paper made diary is still useful, because it can be said that we are tuned to see material in a written material in a horizontal manner. So, the little aged people, they find this more they find it comfortable to read from a book or a wherever this horizontal presentation is there, than a computer screen type of appearance, that is the vertical presentation. So, that is a problem. So, it says that your past experience, and if the development goes along with your existing skill, adaptability is the better. Familiarity of a product form and symbolic meaning of a form, an object could be of a visual form never seen before, yet it may look similar, it may look familiar, because it symbolizes something which is familiar. The symbolism of an object allows the observer to relate it as this or that type of object even before you know what the object itself does. Now, ergonomic criteria for designing or redesigning a product or a system. A completely new product that does not have an resemblance to an existing one of a similar nature may not get proper acceptance by the users. Ensure that the product usage is within the limits of psychophysiological fatigue limits. Like this handset mobile telephones, the operability, etc. The shape, size and overall form should be according to the various confirmed and anticipated behavior patterns of a normal user when using a similar article. The cognitive ergonomics is especially important in the design of complex, high-tech or automated system. Now, what is the cognitive? The cognitive application in design, what does it mean? The cognitive is concerned with acquisition of knowledge relating to the process of acquiring knowledge by the use of reasoning, intuition or perception. Another way it can be said, relating to thought process. When we see a product, the inputs from this product through various means of information system, sensory system goes inside, and then what process is going inside and then a motor reaction comes to use it. That is the cognitive aspect, that is relating to thought process. Few terms are being used in this aspect, that is that cognitive dissonance. It is a state of psychological conflict or anxiety resulting from a contradiction between a person's simultaneous held beliefs or attitudes. Then cognitive map. It is a map of three-dimensional space maintained in the brain. Cognitive psychology is a branch of psychology concerned with study of mental states. Now, one example, that is stereotype and product semantics. Stereotype is a common behavior pattern of a specific group of people. Like in our country, we use electrical switches. Push button is the on and push up of that electrical switch is the off. But in certain other population group, it is different. Now, semiotic application, and this aspect sometimes also depends on culture, sometimes depends on the belief faith of a group, and the limit of the population, it may vary in a smaller group or a very larger group. Now, let us see an application that its utility limit is a large population. For that, incorporate cognitive requirements and product semantics in a design. The product must transmit its mode of use through inbuilt features in the appearance. Incorporate the common psychology of the users as well as population stereotypes along with the preconceived knowledge of the use of similar articles. As example, we would like if see these pens presented here. This pen, there are two type of pens are presented here. Now, these two pens, how to open it? This is only a push system here or it is a spiral opening. How to know that? If we can have this type of markings here, then it will give you a good indication how to operate. In this type of pens, where these two, the cap and the main body opens, separates, here whether it is a first turn and then pull or it is a spiral open, how to recognize that? If we can have a marking like this, it says that you have to just slide it and then pull. If we have a spiral this type of marking, then it says that it has to be spiral open like here. It is the spiral opening and it gives a turn and then pull apart. So, these applications are more or less we can say universal. Even in the utensils or any like pressure cookers, handle, piece, the cover lid and the main body, there also this type of markings are there how to use it. In machines, how to open a cap, this type of systems are useful. So, now though this aspect is universal, but its application has to be confirmed with the specific requirement. If it varieties of openings, the application stress has to be specific. First impression about a design comes to mind. When we see a product or design, what comes to my mind? Almost every product we use and come in contact, its worth is justified in asking exactly what it is, means the identity of the product, how it looks, form and aesthetic relevances, what it does function. Seeing it should tell what it does. Like seeing this product, though this cup is not fitted here, still we can recognize that what it is for and how it performs, linking this with human compatibility and reliability. Human compatibility in terms of human body dimension match, psychological or behavioral capabilities, and while using it there should not be any physiological problem, that is fatigue and etc. Example, we can say this is a simple product design, that is design of a corn sheller. Corn sheller is like that, this is. So, just push and press it with a tilted manner with this product. So, what has happened? The corns are detached from the main body. So, after seeing this, and if a corn is placed nearby this product, the association is there. How best we can make this association? Success of a design depends on that, and the total trust. To give an importance of this product, this water filter, the association is made with the mother and child love, means total trust value. So, the association of the product and the product similarities in a thought abstract way, it gives a good linking. So, these applications has to be maintained in design. Designing a product, a system or jobs must give maximum comfort, efficiency and safety to its users, taking into account differences in human performance and limitations. The work, the environment and the tools are designed to improve efficiency, quality, satisfaction and more importantly to eliminate human error, more important to human error and fatigue value. So, these aspects we need to consider while conceiving a design idea. Now, the sensation and feeling. The product should provide human sensation and feeling as much as possible to recognize or to feel the product. Like for functional point of view, when we open a jar, its lid when we open it, if the lid there is no serration or no marks on the lid, it slips. But if that texture is there, for functionality it is a good way, as well as while touching it also we can feel which one is the main body and which one is the lid if it is placed somewhere in upside down. So, to recognize the product and its usefulness, the texture and that is the human sensation and feeling has to be appropriately applied. For instance, appropriate applications of surface color and varied surface textures in the components and in the whole product help to identify the relative functions and to act as indicators of cautioning against any faulty operations while using or operating. Example, the glass cup and etc. Another very important observation is that in bathroom, hot water and cold water or normal water taps are there. Hot water tap, that knob is marked with a red color, normally it is seen. Another one without any color or sometimes green, blue, that type of color patch is given to say that it is a normal water or cold water, whatever. Now, for the hot water there is no problem, we can recognize it. Now, suppose in a system hot water, cold chilled water and normal water, three systems are there, then what would be the color code? Hot red, it association is already established. Now, for the chilled water and normal water, what would be the color code? How a person who does not know all these color codes, how he can feel about it? The location placement, then the normal water knob will be a center and hot will be in one side and other side will be the cold water, chilled water, or hot and chilled center and normal water will be at the side. So, this requires to be studied properly and that requires context specific application. So, this type of studies are necessary and this type of and accordingly application has to be there. Now, the cognitive control modes complement to the levels of situation awareness that explains the management of cognitive resources concerning task control and decision making. The levels of cognitive control determines the cognitive effect of the operator preceding the motor response, influenced by numerous variables such as task condition, workload, stress, anxiety, among others. It is based on situation awareness that decision and control actions are then selected and activated. Now, design relevant aspects of information process capabilities. Now, these are the aspects and design goal. Aspects are expectation, perception, memory, decision making, semantic memory. Expectation is the aspect, its design goal is the relationship between objects and responses is compatible with users' expectations. The perception is that meaningful stimuli are detectable. The memory reliance on short working and long term memory are minimized. Decision making mitigate maintainers' tendency towards bias in decision making. Semantic memory in a noisy location, if anybody writes something, efficiency diminishes because of the difficulty of retrieving material from that part of long term memory concerned with the meaning of words, etc., and may be produced by a shift in the confidence with each type of material recalled. This aspect is also considered as a selective memory and forgetting aspects. Some terms influences the communication world. There is semiotics, pragmatics, etc. Now, what is it? The semiotics is that pertaining to signs, symbols, a general theory of signs and symbolism usually divided into branches of pragmatics, semantics and syntactics. The following may be cited as definitions. Now, see what is the pragmatics. It can be defined as number 1, treating historical phenomenon with special reference to their causes, conditions and results. Number 2, character or conduct that emphasizes practicality. Number 3, a philosophical moment or system having various forms, but generally stressing practical consequences as constituting the essential criterion in determining meaning, truth or value. And number 4, have or pertaining to the practical point of view or practical considerations relating with success or failure. These are the pragmatics. Semantics, number 1, it can be said that pertaining to or arising from the different meaning of words or allow symbols. Number 2, the branch of semiotic dealing with the relations between signs and that which they denote. General semantics, an educational discipline originated by Alfred Korzybski, concerned with the improvement of human behavior by means of a critical analysis of the function of words and nonverbal symbols. This is general semantics. Now, syntactic, order, arrange and togetherness. Number 1, we can define of or pertaining to the study of the structure of grammatical sentences in a language, the pattern or structure of the word order in a sentence and phrase. This aspect, when we apply in design, it would be relevant. and the cybernetics. Number 1. The scientific study of how information is communicated in machines and electronic devices in comparison with how information is communicated in the brain and nervous system. Number 2. Science of communication and automatic control system in both machines and living things. Number 3. The study of human control functions and of machines and electric systems designed to replace them, a man who drives a machine or steer a ship, as for example. Now, impact of social cognition on social interaction. While talking to an unknown woman over telephone, suppose on a day in an early morning, suppose the telephone rings. So, if we leave the receiver and a good voice comes from other end, then you may feel good. Maybe a lady voice is coming, you may feel good. Okay, fine. When you go to office, you meet with your friend and you just tell these incidents. Then if that person tells something bad about that lady, she may not look nice or whatever, like that way. Next day or some other time, if that same lady rings you, your reaction will be different, because your decision is influenced by some other's influence. That you did not meet that lady, all the conversation was over telephone, but that your friend's views, it reflects in your behavior. So, these are the, while talking to an unknown woman over telephone, he is told that the woman is attractive or unattractive, like that way. The reaction changes. Now, if the telephone conversation of this woman is recorded and played to another male person, hearing the voice, this second man will feel the woman attractive or unattractive. An impression of another person has influenced behavior towards that person in such a way as to elicit responses that confirm the original information, the impression. The natural selection and the influenced by some other thought selection, these two systems are present while we select any product or how we see a design. One aspect, it may be relevant in this, that is the mirror reflex. Means you are not directly doing the task, but when you are observing somebody is doing a task, whatever reaction he is doing, you may feel similar. As for example, when a mother feeds her child, when the child also opens his mouth, mother's mouth also gets opened, but mother is not eating, mother is feeding that child. At every time, child also opens and closes mouth, mother's mouth also opens and closes. A mirror reflex. Here it may be that mother is training the child, or it may be a reflex action. Another thing. So, then this aspect, how it helps in a design selection. in a shop there are many items are there. If some people are buying something, a specific thing, as a new buyer, my impression will be there when they are buying, probably it is a good one. So, how these aspects can be utilized in our design practice? It needs to be thought and considered, and relevant information has to be collected and practiced. Another thing, that symbolism, that is abstractism. Something, whatever we feel to tell, or whatever I practice, I present, it may not be inside. Just for an example, I can tell you, we can tell here that underlying individual behavior, including stereotype and prejudice in relation to his acquired knowledge, may be a masked effect in day-to-day reality, has great effect on acceptance. As example, we can cite here a story of Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda was asking a Maharaja who was very strong non-believer of ideal worship to spit on his father's picture. Father's picture is not his father actually, but he could not do that Maharaja, because of faith underlying the sanskars may be cited. So, when we design a garbage bin with a monkey or a bird opening his beak, means you throw garbage inside that bird or that animal's mouth. Our culture does not permit that, but it may be good if the bird is flying or about to fly and carries a basket on his back. A monkey is holding a bag or a garbage bin in hand, means he is collecting and will release somewhere else. It may be good. So, while taking this decision, design decision, this application has to be considered. Whatever faith we have, ethos we have, it should go along with it, should not go different way. Even if we make a ashtray for cigarette, a live, a animal figure, that you are putting ash on that animal's open mouth, that design people may not like. So, while selecting these forms etc., we need to consider these aspects. Cognitive abilities of task analysis. The aspects we need to consider, that automatic, that is simple association, at alternative selection facilities should be there, sign and signal recognition facilities, evaluation or judgment, that is consider single aspect, encoding and decoding of the information present in that object, and recall. Once you learn, next time when you want to use that, whether those informations we can recall for next time use, that easiness. Evaluation and judgment, that consider several aspects: estimation, calculation and conversation. These cognitive abilities of task analysis to be done while conceiving a design. Now, with this we can conclude today's session, that is that psychosocial behavioral aspect and behavior stereotype. Now, next session will be the class 25, that is information processing and perception. Now, while closing, in this slide we would like to tell that semiotic application. Now, how far it is applicable, useful, you like it, that is up to you. But this photograph was taken from West Bengal's a new seashore called Mandarmuni. There a Rose Valley, a hotel complex is there, and inside that complex a car parking that has a direct car figure as a structural element. Car figure as a structural element. So, that it says that it is a car parking like this. So, how far these are useful, applicable? It is too much raw application of information or abstract information. One need to consider and practice accordingly. So, with this we are concluding today's session and see you next time. Thank you very much.